On the left, we have the heavyweight champion, the Galaxy Nexus HSPA Plus, and on the right, we have the newcomer, the Galaxy Nexus LTE. This is unlocked. This is for Verizon. There are some issues here about whether one is faster than the other with respects to radios. So, obviously, we know that HSPA Plus is slower than LTE, but of course, you also know that the HSPA Plus version features international support, meaning you can take this phone with you to Europe and use any SIM on it. So, what's the trade-off here in the US? I got speed tests ready to go here. I'm on T-Mobile HSPA Plus with almost full bars of signal here, very good performance in this location, and I have full bars here of LTE on Verizon. So, let's go. And let's see what happens. So as you can see, HSPA Plus isn't doing so badly, 4,600 megabits per second, sorry, 4.6 megabits per second versus 14. And there we go, the results are almost in for both. Obviously LTE wins by a wide margin, but look at this. 14 megabits per second versus 5.2 megabits per second, and 1.7 megabits per second versus 10 megabits per second. So that's pretty much what you can expect as far as performance difference. Now I could be having slightly better signal. This easily reaches 8 megabits. I've got one bar missing here, but the trade-off obviously is, yes, it's faster, but what does it do to battery life? And clearly, you can take this phone to Europe, put an unlocked SIM in there, and off you go on or Europe, Asia, anywhere in the world really. It works on both AT&T and T-Mobile. This will only work on Verizon Wireless. So that's basically the trade-off. Let me give you some size comparisons while I'm here. A lot of people are probably wondering right now whether they should buy this phone or the other two major phones from Verizon. So let's do a versus here. We've got the Razr on the left and the Resound on the right. So here we go. Oh, my battery is low, strangely. So here we have all three of them. You can see the size difference in the displays, and of course the difference in quality of the displays. Now the Resound has a very high quality display, but it's not AMOLED, so the black's a little washed out. But the calls maybe don't pop as much. The Razr's display is a little flawed insofar that it has some weird jagged edged issues and some yellow tinting to the OLED. So really, you know, it's your call, but we think this is the best right here, the Galaxy Nexus. Even though it's a pentile display, it really does look fantastic in person. So turning them all over, you can see the size difference. As you can see, the Resound and the Razr have 4.3-inch displays, but the Razr is the largest of the three. It has a lot of bezel around its screen. And then thickness, of course, is going to be no contest here. The Razr is going to be the winner, with the Resound being the loser. So there you go. There's a couple more I want to compare with. And specifically, we've got here the LG Nitro on the left and the Skyrocket on the right. Now these are AT&T LTE phones, and let's turn them all on so we can all look. This is what the displays look like. So here what we have is 4.5 versus 4.65, and we have 720p display for the Nitro, which is a gorgeous display. It's IPS. Again, it's kind of like the Resound. You can see right away the colors don't pop nearly as much, and the black's a little grayer, but overall very nice display. Then we have the Super AMOLED Plus non-pentile here on the Skyrocket, but it's only 800 by 480 versus 720 by 1280. So, you know, again, we think the clear winner is right here in the middle. You get both the high-res and the OLED Super AMOLED, which is really, really gorgeous. And like turning them over now, you can see what their footprints are like. And some dust here. So the Skyrocket on the right, Nitro on the left, and the Galaxy Nexus LTE in the middle. Now let's see a thickness comparison. The winner here is going to be the Nitro probably. The Nitro is quite thin, although it's a kind of a toss. The Galaxy S2 here, the Skyrocket, is pretty thin as well. So I guess the Nexus isn't the thinnest. Again, this is thicker than the HSPA Plus version. Alright, so now there's a couple more phones I want to compare, actually one more I want to compare to, and that's the iPhone. Just because we need to have an iPhone around at all times, it's our job. So here's the iPhone 4S in white with a Retina display, which is 640 by 960 versus 720 by 1080 Pentile Super AMOLED display. So non-Pentile here. You can see that the iPhone is really holding its own. If I hold them up close to one another, once the camera focuses, you can have a better look. This is what it looks like. Very nice display on the iPhone. But, you know, it really depends on what you like for display size here. I personally prefer the larger screen. But I own this iPhone as well. So I have both the Galaxy Nexus and the iPhone. Alright, that's it. The Galaxy Nexus LTE size comparisons and speed tests. Cheers.